Hey, what's up YouTube? It's K-Rod here. I'm back with another good video for y'all today. I wanted to make this video to talk about Mr. Conor Benn versus Chris Algeri fight. I wanted to basically state my thoughts on it, of why I believe this is not a good fight for Mr. Conor Benn. So yeah, let's get right to it. For those of you that don't know, Conor Benn, he fights at welterweight in the welterweight division. I believe he is like what, 5'7", 5'8", but I think he's like 25-0. Not so sure. I'm gonna search up that record because I always need to talk about that. But yep, Conor Nigel Benn, 19-0, 12 knockouts. He has a 63.16 knockout ratio. But either way, he's from the UK. He was born in Essex, UK, but he resides in Ilford, Essex, United Kingdom, in the good old GB in Great Britain. Yeah, so he's going to be fighting Chris Algeri, a very old-time welterweight veteran. I honestly don't think this is a damn good fight, simply for the manner that Conor Benn, he is a good fighter, and I respect, the living crap out of him, simply for the fact that, he is the, descendant son of his main father, Nigel Benn, which I never really thought too highly of Nigel back in the day because of what he did to Gerald McClellan, and a lot of people will still remember that till the day, I guess like me included, till the day I die and everybody else's die. So that's a long unforgotten memory for the sport of boxing. So I personally believe Conor, he's like the newer, refined version of his dad. Obviously, like, I wouldn't say like he's, as great as his father, because even though his father, correct me, I believe, I don't even think Nigel ever won a world title. He was good back in the day, but he wasn't like, like an actual champion. Oh, actually, come to think about it, well, no, he got knocked out by Steve Collins. Damn. Yeah, so yep, he beat Gerald McClellan for the middleweight or for the WBC super middleweight title. And sadly, that's when Gerald's career was destroyed by Nigel. But prior to that, he defeated Gilbert, or no, he beat whatchamacallit, Julian Jackson the first time. That was a KO victory in 5 rounds, and then he beat Jay Bell. That was a title defense. That was in 1 round, and then he beat Gilbert Baptiste in a second title defense, and then he knocked out Julian Jackson again in 1 round, and then, yeah, sadly he lost to Nigel Benn. But yeah, I mean, three successful title defenses is amazing. I really wish Gerald's career wasn't destroyed like that. Sadly, it was really just due to the massive punishment that he received from Nigel Benn, and that was sad. And I really hope everything's okay with Mr. Gerald, and same thing with Mr. Nigel Benn. For me personally, like, I don't have any hate against him. I still criticize him for what he had done to Gerald, which was really unprofessional and very dirty in the ring. But still, Conor's father has done a lot for the sport, and he's done everything right to be at that level where, he defeated guys like, Gerald McClellan, even though he almost lost that fight convincingly. He had fought Chris Eubank, Ian Barkley. Those are some damn good fights. Obviously, his very first title was against Doug Dewitt for the WBO World Middleweight title, and then he defended it against Iran Barkley, in which Iran Barkley, he was a beast back in the day. I remember that. He was taking everybody out, but he KO'd him and won. Chris Eubank, Sr., he beat him in 9 rounds. That was a very difficult fight. And then he later on, regained another title at super middleweight for the WBC. He beat Mario Galvano. That was a damn good fight. And then he defended it against Nicky Piper, and then Mario Galvano, and then KO'd Lou Gent, and then leading up to Chris Eubanks Sr. again. That was a split decision draw when they unified, and that was a damn good fight. I suggest a lot of you go watch that. That was a classical fight back in the day. And then after that, he then defended his title against Henry Wharton, and then Juan Carlos Jimenez, and then after that, Gerald McClellan, which that was when Gerald, obviously moved up in weight from middleweight to go challenge Nigel. And sadly, that's when things really got bad prior to that. But after that victory, Nigel went on to defend his title against Vicente Nardiello. And then he beat Daniel Perez. And then he lost a split decision to Thulani Malinga. And then he got knocked out back-to-back by Steve Collins. So, yeah. Very, very interesting resume from Conor's father. Very, very, how should I say? I would say, it's been really, really, difficult. And, I have, been very critical of, Conor Benn for quite a while. And I just feel like, where he's at in his career, he's just too good to be fighting guys like Chris Algeri, who's not a big puncher. He's just more of a pure boxer. Not very skilled as far as handling pressure, but he is skilled as far as giving boxing 101 IQ to you. So I think, it's good to see Conor fight a good veteran, but I don't think this is a good veteran level opponent. I think the problem with Mr. Conor Benn is that he has a struggle to fight guys that are pure boxers. So I think this fight is going to, basically reanimate the same situation with Mr. Adrian Granados, and I think that's what's going to determine where that fight will go. Because I don't think Chris Algeri is going to give Conor a lot of issues. I think Conor is just going to find out the weaknesses early game, and then late game he's going to stop Chris, simply due to the fact that Chris, he doesn't have enough power to respectfully give Conor that momentum to push him back. But I think if he, basically makes too many mistakes and allows Chris to develop enough space to outbox Conor, then I could definitely see Chris, defeating Conor. But I think Conor's athletic ability and his sheer, pressure on the inside, in which Conor, he's, primarily a pressure fighter at best. That's what will make Conor Benn's that's what will make him successful to win the fight. So I think this fight alone will really determine how good Conor's skills will be against guys that are pure boxers. But I think Conor really needs to find guys that are a lot younger, if not closer to his prime, similar to that with Jaron Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz, that are going to give him tougher fights. But even if he didn't, honestly, if Conor wasn't fighting Chris Algeri, and let's just say he was fighting like David Avanesian or Adrian Broner, those would be very, very awesome fights. And I think him and AB would make a lot of money in terms of what AB can bring to Conor. And I personally like AB simply for the manner that AB, if this was the actual old AB that actually lets his hands go, he could definitely stop Conor. But Conor, he's obviously that type of guy to go toe to toe with you, so he's not afraid to run into those punches, and then he could give you some problems. But the only difference between him and AB is that AB, he's a big puncher himself too, but AB, he's a pure boxer puncher. So Adrian Broner, he has great hand speed, he has great timing, he has great boxing IQ where he doesn't just stand in front of you. Adrian Broner, he makes you think and in the fight, and he disrupts your skills and techniques to the level where he takes you out of your element and he makes you uncomfortable in the fight as it goes on. And that's what I like out of that matchup if Conor were to get that type of fight. But I don't think AB is in the right position financially and mentally to be focused on boxing. But theoretically, Adrian Broner would give Conor Benn a very difficult fight. And let's just say if Conor, if he were to be Adrian Broner, that would be a huge, big win, because something like that would definitely elevate him to the next level. So the problem that I have with Conor Benn fighting Chris Algeri is that Chris Algeri, he's way past his prime. He's not going to give Conor like those good championship level rounds to make him feel comfortable in the ring. And I don't see how this elevates him to the next level. I mean, if he were to fight like Radzat Butaev in the future, and let's just say that was his current opponent that he was going to face, then I'd be like, yeah, you know what, that's a damn good fight. Or if he were to fight Kudratio Abudakarov, which, that fighter, he's not that big of a puncher, but, he knows how to box, he knows how to box somewhat. He's like a semi, standard boxer. But I think that fight would have been a much more intriguing fight. But no, Kudratio is a good fighter, and I mean, sources say that he should be in line to fight Errol Spence next, which I don't think EJ is wanting to fight him at all, because he wants to unify. So if anything, if Errol does have to fight him, Errol's gonna brutally stop him. But if anything, I would say my 5 opponents that I would like for Conor to be in the ring with would be Speedy Rashidi Ellis. Maybe number 2 could be Abel Ramos, because he's looking for an opponent, but I heard that I heard word on the street that Abel Ramos should be fighting Keith Thurman, in which I don't think that fight is going to be made, but let's just say if it does, then he's going to be out the picture. But a good third opponent would be Thomas Delorme. Obviously, he got stopped by Jerome Boots Ennis, but obviously, I think that would be a very difficult fight for Conor, because Thomas Delorme, he's not a pushover. He's still a very dangerous opponent that could still rock you and hurt you, and definitely give you those tough, hard rounds. But then a good fourth opponent that I'd like to see him in there with would be Alexander Besputin. Besputin is a damn good opponent himself too, and plus he's a southpaw. He's 5'7". He trains out of California, but he definitely can punch, and he can definitely go to war with you. And I think that's a damn good fight for Conor. He obviously needs guys that are going to make him go the distance, and he's gonna have to understand that you can't just be knocking everybody out. You have to actually know how to box when you're getting to that high level. And once you master like your boxing 101 IQ skills, it's like, it becomes a lot easier to get back up to the to the bigger top dog level fights. And hence, when I made that video of Conor responding to me off of Instagram, which I was obviously just, testing his state of mind to see like where he's at, of like where he's going to go in his career. And I find it very surprising that he says that he doesn't want to go after Jerome Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, and Speedy Rashidi Ellis. And he says that he got plenty of time. But my question is like, at what point in time are you going to fight those guys? Because Conor is 25 years old. And I mean, I understand that, boxing is a young gun sport. But last time I checked, like, guys usually fight the best competition when they're at the prime of their careers. And I purely believe that Conor is in the prime of his career right now, and he should not be by any means necessary in the ring with Chris Algeri in his next fight. He should be fighting guys that are in the top 25 at least if he's wanting to make it up there to the top in the welterweight division. Because sooner than later, there's going to be one guy that's going to be challenging you one day, and he's going to knock you off. And I think Conor, he needs to get his skills up higher as he goes up in the rankings, and he needs to start being more efficient in what he needs to do to be at that level. And I would like to see him dominate at that level, but part of me kind of feels like he doesn't want that smoke because the smoke is getting too dangerous and too vigilant for him. So I think Conor, he needs to be a lot more dedicated in wanting all the top names at the welterweight division, and then that is when Conor will shine to become a champion, at least a champion in either belt. Because let's just say if Conor does go on and challenge for like an IBO world title fight, at least that gives him some confidence to be ready for the high level. Even though that the IBO is not, like the most popular sanctioned body belt, but I would go for that belt, and then at least you have some proving grounds where you have competition wanting to come after you. Because they're going to be looking at you, they're going to be like, oh, well, this kid, Conor Benn, he ain't that good. Have him come fight me, blah, blah, blah. And then when Conor gets his skills up, and then when he feels like he's ready to challenge guys by the likes of Jerome Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz or Speedy Rashidi Ellis, which I personally believe Conor, he should have fought Speedy. He should have fought Rashidi Ellis in his upcoming current fight instead of Chris Algeri. Chris Algeri is not a good opponent for Conor. Chris Algeri is way past his prime, and he did not look too good in his last outing. He, sadly, he looked really shitty, and he looked like he was going to basically just gas out against Mikel Lespierre, right? But that fight alone was just not interesting. Like, Chris Algeri is not this type of fighter where he, makes you feel, super duper, how should I say, super duper impressed and intrigued to the point where you're like, oh wow, Chris Algeri, he still got it, and he could still beat all the top guys. Well, obviously that's not true, because it's like Chris Algeri is not this type of opponent where he's coming out of his way and just stopping everybody. He's not the same fighter as he once was. But I mean, if it was a Chris Algeri that was still in his prime, I would like that fight. But Conor Benn, he's obviously doing this for the sense of not wanting to fight the top competition, at 147. So I think this is a clear ducking strategy, in my honest opinion, because Conor, if he was a real world championship minded contender, he would have gone after Jerome Boots Ennis. He would have gone after Virgil Ortiz. He could have easily gone after Speedy Rashidi Ellis. He could have easily told Eddie Hearn to say, hey, set up me and Speedy Rashidi Ellis. I think I'm ready to beat him. Let's, go make this money with him. He could have easily done that. But Conor Benn does not want to do that because part of me feels like he's too afraid to beat those guys. I don't think Conor is in the right mental state of mind. And I kind of feel like what he had said to me in the past kind of makes me feel like, are you even ready for the top of that, top of that division? Because, 147 is a money, it's a money division, but it's by far one of the most deadliest divisions in boxing. And I don't understand how Conor thinks that he's, improving his resume, but at the same time, you have all this smoke that's waiting for you saying, hey, I'm ready for Conor. He wants to run his mouth, try to say that he's, he's going to be the best fighter out of this whole division. Well, he got to come see me, blah, blah, blah. And those guys that are obviously going to be barking at your name one day, or that are currently barking at you right now, is Jerome Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, and, Speedy Rashidi Ellis, and many more, welterweights to come in the welterweight division. So I personally don't believe that Conor Benn is psychologically ready for the top killers at 147, but this is not the right path to get you ready for 147. Like, it would have been better if it were him versus Abel Ramos. Like, that fight would have been a lot more sellable, because Abel Ramos, he's been in there with some really tough dogs. He's been in there with Jamal James. He's been in there with Ugas. He's been in there with killers. But Conor Benn, he's not... Like, Conor Benn is not helping his career by fighting a past his prime Chris Algeri. Because Chris Algeri at 38, 37 years old is not going to give Conor those tough-ass rounds. And the problem that I have with Conor's movement in his career is that he's not wanting this top-level opposition. And I kind of feel like he's copying from what Canelo Alvarez is doing at 140, or like, basically he's copying and pasting the ducking strategy from Canelo Alvarez, where he's going to say, yeah, I want these top guys somewhere down the line, blah, blah, blah. But then come to find out, it's like, he's not serious about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Conor can definitely give these guys a tough ass fight, but at what point do we say he's ready for 147? Because at some point he needs to be real with himself to say, can I really beat these guys unless I actually try? Because if he does give a good effort, and let's just say he can beat a Virgil Ortiz, but he can't beat a Jerome Butanes, at least you got up inside the ring and you tested your skill set with them. And then the next time you come back out and re-challenge for more competition, you're going to be way better than the future up-and-coming welterweights that are not, facing those tough tier fights. Mid to early, late in their career, as far as hitting their prime and then, slowly deteriorating away from it. So I think Conor, he's a good fighter. He could definitely fight his ass off, but the problem that I have with Conor Benn is just how he's moving in the sport, and I don't see that being beneficial for him, because he's basically doing himself a massive disservice. And I think Conor, he's way better. Like Conor is 10 times better of a fighter than to fight some guy by the likes of Chris Algeri. I do believe Conor can get some high quality wins at 147, but obviously he needs to step up himself if he wants to prove to me and the rest of the audience that he's ready to beat these guys at 147. But until then, I guess we're gonna have to find out until that day happens, because I do believe Conor is a tremendous talent. He just needs to be in there with all those tough top tier opposition now, instead of trying to call for it later and then he gets knocked off brutally by somebody that is way better than him, like Boots or Virgil Ortiz, maybe. I don't know, but I like to see him fight those guys now rather than fighting them later. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Conor Benn should be fighting guys like Jerome Butanes and Virgil Ortiz and Speedy Rashidi Ellis? And do you think this opponent with Chris Algeri is a good fit for him, or is it a bad fit for him? I've already given you my thoughts. I think Chris Algeri is a horrible opponent. Chris Algeri should be, retired, hanging out with his wife and kids, whatever the hell that he's doing in his neck of the woods. But I don't think a Conor Benn fight is good for Chris Algeri, and I don't think Conor Benn benefits from a Chris Algeri victory. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.